What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati, and conspicuous by his absence is the podcast dad. He is unavailable tonight and tomorrow, getting ready for Halloween with the little ones. So he's going to take a couple of days off, but he'll be back on Monday. But nonetheless, I wanted to talk some wrestling, so I figured I can't do it alone, and I've got an incredible guest to join me tonight. But before I introduce him, I want to say thank you to everybody watching tonight. As always, make sure that you are following us at Junkies Pod on X for all things Wrestling Junkies Podcast. Make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Junkies Pod, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We need your help to get there. If you know one person that would enjoy our show, just do us a favor, share it with them, show them what we're about here at the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. I mean, how often are you going to get a live podcast 3, 4, 5 days a week? Sometimes it's just an incredible labor of love that we have here, and absolutely want to bring you the best wrestling content possible. And while you're at it, make sure you are following our friends at the Main Event Wrestling Network. If you want incredible podcasts, great blogs, memes, fan art, you name it, we have it. Incredible group of people that we work with, and we're always making moves every single day. So be on the lookout for another main event mixer as Crown Jewel rolls around this weekend. While you're at it, make sure that you are supporting our merch store as well. Buy a mug, buy a t-shirt, buy a beanie, buy a tank top, everything that we earn. It helps us to go back into the world of professional wrestling, and that's how we are able to sponsor the incredible shows and events that we do. And while you're at it, make sure that you are showing some love to our friends at Gorilla Press Apparel. Remember to use promo code WJP2024 for 25% off site-wide. If you are a wrestler, manager, referee, promoter, you need some merch for those tables, DM Will on X at Gorilla Press APP. They do accept commissions. There are some new designs dropping later on in November, and they are incredible. Cannot wait for you guys to check these out. And before we get into introducing our guest, remember, next weekend, Summit Wrestling Association celebrating their 19th anniversary. Thank you again to Harleen Lopez for joining us last night. She's one of 4 incredibly talented women that are going to be competing for the Queen of the Summit Championship. Again, another groundbreaking moment in the rich history of Summit Wrestling. Cannot wait for you all to check that out. Make sure you subscribe to their YouTube channel for more details. Without further ado, I think it's time to introduce our guest. He's a very, very special guest. He rarely does podcast appearances, so that makes this even more exciting. He is the reigning, defending Coastal Chaos champion at Coastal Empire Wrestling, the Flying Fro Michael Walker, easily one of the most resilient wrestlers in the game today. It's been an incredible summer. He's been through hell and back, and this is probably one of the most intense rivalries that we've seen in a long time with Hakeem Young. And you know, while we may have a bit of a humorous approach to what Hakeem has done over the last couple of months, it's no joke here. He's made it his mission to take this championship from Michael Walker by any means necessary, even though he's failed time and time again, despite stacking the deck. These guys are going to put it all on the line one more time. This is a last man standing match that will be coming up later on this month. And this is, shit's about to hit the fan. So without further ado, please welcome the Flying Fro, Michael Walker, to the stage. Fro, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here and kind of explain my side of things. I know Hakeem is always in the comment section, you know, spewing insults or whatever it is that he does. So I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're professionals around here. I mean, there's 2 sides to every single story, and you're right. Hakeem has taken every opportunity to just chirp and chirp and chirp and chirp and look at me, but still, you know, can't get the job done. So, you know, again, let's just back it up a little bit. I mean, again, this is probably one of the most intense rivalries that Coastal Empire Wrestling has seen in its history. How did we get here?
Well, Hakeem Young debuted at Coastal Empire Wrestling in, I believe it was December of last year. And the person he debuted against, it was a triple threat between myself, Hakeem Young, and Rob Killjoy. I won that match on the way to becoming the Coastal Chaos champion in January. But at the time, there was a lot of controversy kind of surrounding Hakeem. So when he got in that Coastal locker room after that December show, he would come to me like for advice and stuff. You know, he would come to me like when he wrestled Hunter James and he lost that tough match that he lost to Hunter James. He came to the locker room. I was the first person he looked at, and he asked, like, what can I do to get better? right? So we kind of developed a friendship, or at least I thought that we had developed a friendship, right? I trusted him. He was one of the boys, right? He was one of my brothers in the locker room. Then you fast forward a little bit to whenever me and Rob Killjoy left it all in the ring in what a lot of people call an absolute classic of a match for that Coastal Chaos Championship. He comes in and makes a save when Dax Anthony comes in and attacks me from behind. And everyone in that room is thinking, oh my gosh, Hakeem Young has really changed. All that controversy he left in the past, and he's really here right now, helping Rob Killjoy, helping the Flying Fro. And lo and behold, he shows his true colors, kicks me right in the face when I'm already down.
Yeah, I mean, it's it sounds like Hakeem has come into Coastal with a chip on his shoulder at one of epic proportions, which is, I mean, it's honestly very surprising. When you look at Hakeem Young, he's a guy that, he's what you want a wrestler to look like. He's got the speed, he's got the size, he can talk the talk, he can walk the walk, except for when it comes to his rivalry with you as of late. What is it? Is it jealousy? What do you think it is? If you had to guess what's going on in his mind, what is it that we're not seeing about Hakeem Young that you've seen more than we have?
Well, he likes to call himself destruction, right? He likes to call himself devastation. He likes to call himself chaos. All of those things kind of put together, it's just any means necessary. He has one goal. His goal is to take that championship from me. And it's by any means necessary. He doesn't care about respect. He doesn't care about honor. He doesn't care about our what I thought was a friendship. He doesn't care about any of that. He wants to be at the top. And if I'm the guy he's got to go through to get to the top, that's what it is. And he's going to do it by any means necessary. That's why he broke my foot back a couple months ago. He wanted to be handed the championship. If that could have been done, he would have taken that.
Yeah, I mean this, and for those that are watching right now that have not gone back and watched the shows this summer, he slammed your foot into a fucking car door. I mean, this is no just chop block to the leg or anything like that. I mean, he tried to end your career here, and it's what was surprising to not just me but the podcast that as well, that Hakeem has set up every advantage in the world for this to work out for him at Legends of Low Country. Wrestles to a time limit draw. He says that he was playing with his food. He's saying that I had him right where I wanted him. He couldn't take the title from you. I mean, we've said it on our show. I mean, this was essentially setting up a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, and he still fucked it up. That's just the resilience of the Flying Fro. I mean, you didn't make it easy on him.
Well, the thing is if you know anything about me, I've been fighting from underneath my entire life. When I was 17, I had a back surgery. They went through and they put 2 metal rods and 24 screws in my spine. And the doctors told me I'd never be a wrestler. Well, here I am, right? I'm the Coastal Chaos champion right now because I don't take no for an answer. If you say that I can't do it, I'm going to do it. Hakeem Young said I couldn't fight back, and I fought back. At the last show, it's not out on YouTube yet, but at the end of the night, right after our match, that whole crowd was chanting, "Fro still standing." The exact same thing they're going to be chanting on November 30th when I'm the last man standing.
Yeah, and let's talk about that a little bit. Like you said, the show is not on YouTube yet, and we'll certainly be doing our post show after the Empire that is going to recap that entire event. But I mean, again, this is a match that ended in a double count out. This was a match with no time limit and only ended in a double count out. How did that outcome sit with you? We know that Hakeem's upset, but going into these championship matches, I mean, no one really wants to retain their title with a draw or a time limit draw or a count out. What was your mentality coming out of that event?
Well, my mentality, and you'll see it when the YouTube show comes out, after the double count out. So I came over the top rope, hit him with this massive dive. We went through the chairs. Whatever it takes, right? I hate his stinking guts at this point. I don't care. If I'm going to hit him, I'm going to hit him as hard and as fast as possible. Keep him down. Unfortunately for me, that meant that I didn't get in the ring before the 10 count either. Double count out. They hand me the belt. And the only thing I could do in that moment is I threw the belt down. Because at this point, the belt is not the reason I'm still fighting. I'm fighting because Hakeem Young has humiliated me. I'm fighting because I declared as soon as I won that Coastal Chaos Championship to be a fighting champ for the people. And everything that Hakeem Young has done to me up to this point is to stop me from fighting. So after a little bit of consideration, I threw the belt down and I went to walk away. But then something inside of me just snapped, And I threw him back in the ring. And I picked up that chair, that exact same chair that Hakeem Young has been using this entire time. And I just laid into him. I let all the emotions that he's made me feel the last couple of months just come out 5, 6, 7, 8 times with that chair right across his back. And then I looked him dead in his face with a microphone in my hand, and I asked him to stand up. No, matter of fact, I declared for him to stand up, and he couldn't. That's where the last man standing comes from. He couldn't stand up. He broke my foot, and I still stood up and fought. But he couldn't stand up after I fought back.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've seen him try everything in the book except for a fair fight. And let me just ask you this. I mean, we've said on our show, I don't know how many times, but the Coastal Cast Championship, it's probably one of the most sought after in that region in independent wrestling because of the prestige with which you carry it. Do you feel that this rivalry with Hakeem is distracting you from the rest of the locker room and people that can lay claim to championship opportunities? I mean, you and Rob Killjoy probably put on one of Coastal's best matches this year. Do you see yourself wanting to mix it back up with Killjoy for the Coastal Cast Championship again?
I mean, absolutely. Of course, I got to take care of the problem at hand first, but afterwards, like, I look forward to, there's no end to the possibilities. Whenever I won this belt from Simon Sermon back in January, it was like every show, somebody is coming from somewhere else. They're debuting in the Coastal Empire Wrestling locker room. They're coming specifically for my title. And that was some of the most fun I've had in my wrestling career to this point, is I'm just getting to see all these new faces, all these new people coming in because they want a shot at this belt. Yeah. But now here's Hakeem, right? And all these people are coming in with an actual credible claim to a title match. And then there's Hakeem Young, whose claim to a title match is that he hit me while I was already down. But maybe I'm too prideful. Maybe it's just because I'm stubborn or what, but I can't let that slide. If he's going to hit me while I'm down, I'm going to hit him back even harder. So that's why we're here now. And then whenever we get through this at the next show and I'm still your Coastal Chaos champion, I'll be happy to take on anybody that wants a shot.
What is it about you that Hakeem thinks he needs to stoop to these levels to get your attention? I mean, like you said, it sounds like there was a really solid relationship there in the beginning, but what do you think has changed?
Well, honestly, I don't think he's trying to get my attention. I think he's trying to get the attention of everyone else, right? Because after a little bit of me carrying this belt, people are starting to take notice. People are starting to get behind the fact that I'm turning this championship into something more than it was. And I think Hakeem wants to capitalize on all that momentum that I've already garnered for the championship. And if he could take me out and just take the belt, then he has an entire platform to work with. All eyes are on him, I don't think it's so much about me. I think it's more about Hakeem and his ego.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm inclined to agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, Hakeem Young is a guy that has come on to our show, chirps in the comments, and wants to call the Wrestling Junkies podcast the Hakeem Young Show. Go fuck yourself. It's just I don't know what this animus is. I mean, it's almost like an insecurity that has shown through. I mean, again, you've been having a hell of a year. I think, the first time that Chris and I saw you was down at Lariato back in April. And I mean, we were just absolutely blown away with what you can do. I mean, this has been a great 2024 for you. I mean, I don't know. If I had to guess, I think Hakeem's a little jealous.
Well, I like to be very humble, and I think it was a good year, injuries aside, all that stuff. But I don't know, man. There's just something different about Hakeem Young. Like, his attitude from the beginning of this year, when he was coming into the locker room, we were talking about stuff. His attitude is different. His personality is different. It's like he's an entirely different person, So maybe he's jealous. Maybe he's not necessarily jealous. Maybe he sees what I have, and he says that he can take it from me if he wants to. Maybe it's not a jealousy move. Maybe it's a power move. Maybe he's trying to put everybody else on notice that he can take what he wants.
I mean, and I'd be willing to believe that if we can be transparent. I mean, again, he smashed your leg into a car door. Like, he had every opportunity set up to take the title from you, and he still played around, got cocky, and fucked it up. This time, second match, time limit draw. No time limit. You go to a double count out. It's like, at what point does Hakeem lose credibility in the eyes of the CEW faithful as far as what he can do in the ring versus what the Flying Fro can do in the ring?
I think he lost credibility the moment he turned his back on those fans, is when I think he lost his credibility. I think everyone knows that he is a great athlete and that he can wrestle. But what is he fighting for? Like, I tell you exactly why he can't get the job done is because I'm not fighting for myself. I'm not fighting for a Coastal Chaos Championship belt. I'm fighting for the people that show up every single month and cheer my name. And those are the ones that have propelled me to the point where I won the championship in the first place. So I'm not going to let some guy that thinks he can just take it from me come in and take it. Like, it's not going to be easy. And if he wants a fight, that's exactly what he got. It got to the point now that, like, honestly, and Hakeem Young, if you're watching this, I've already told you to your face, which is something you're not very good at doing, that I hate you. And November 30th, last man standing, I'm going to prove that you don't have what it takes because you're not fighting for something bigger than yourself. You're not fighting for something that means more to you than you do. The Coastal Empire is going to be behind me 100%, and that's exactly what's going to propel me to beating Hakeem Young on November 30th.
Yeah, I mean, those crowds they're getting larger and larger by the month. I mean, it's probably the hottest ticket in Savannah right now. I mean, you have the Coastal Empire faithful, behind you and ready to see you achieve, want to see you win. I mean, how does that energy impact these performances? I mean, I know that you've had the injury to overcome here a little bit, and it seems like you're kind of back to full strength now. So, take us through that preparation and the impact that the fans have on getting ready for a match like this, especially last man standing.
The thing about those fans, just like whenever you're in the ring in Coastal, the fans are something different, Like in that match where I was wrestling with my medical boot on because my foot was literally broken, every time I stood up had nothing to do with me. It wasn't willpower. It was like they were willing me to do it, And it's been like that. Like I pretty much started my career here at Coastal Empire Wrestling, and they've been behind me for 3 years. 3 years they have propelled me to doing the great things that I'm able to do now. Every time I step foot in that ring, it's like, I don't know, man. It's just that crowd pushes me past my limits more so than anything else.
I believe it. I mean, it's again an incredibly raucous atmosphere. I mean, we're certainly jealous that we don't get to spend as much time down there as we would like to, but it's certainly something we want to experience, firsthand ourselves. I mean, at this point, this is a rivalry 10 months in the making. At this point, what do you think the X factor is to make sure that you can beat Hakeem Young definitively once and for all?
I think the X factor is I could go the easy route here and just say, just look at my resume from this year. I wrestled Hunter James, Simon Sermon, Suge D, Chad Skywalker, Zach Mosley, like all these guys that I've wrestled this year defending my belt against. I could go the easy route and say that I had this resume, that it's stacked, and that I've already proven that I'm a great wrestler. But I think the real X factor is going to be when those people are on their feet and they're chanting for me and they're letting Hakeem know just how much they hate his guts. That hatred from them, because I feel the exact same way about Hakeem. I hate Hakeem Young.
Yeah.
I hate him. He has made my life a living hell for the past few months. I hate him. And I think that's going to be the X factor. That crowd letting me know that they're on my side, that they hate him too, and we're just all going to be in unison on the same wavelength while I'm beating him over the head with a chair or whatever's going to happen,
Yeah.
All I know is that they willed me to win this championship in the first place. They're going to will me to keep it in this last man standing match on November 30th.
Wow. I don't think it gets much more powerful than that. I mean, again, these have been an incredible trilogy of matches. Hakeem has he's shot his mouth off and has come up short time and time again. I mean, it's if you're a Hakeem Young supporter, it's hard. It's hard to buy in right now. I just think that it is. I mean, this is somebody that Bryce Cannon on commentary compared to a young Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe would have gotten the job done.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was prepared for the amount of fight I had in me. I don't think he was prepared for me to offer so much resistance to what he was trying to do. And I think now that he's kind of seen what I actually am capable of, especially at the last show when I kind of I lost it for a few minutes and I started hitting him with that chair. And now that he's seen that, I think Hakeem Young knows that he's going to have to be extremely well mentally prepared to step in the ring with me on November 30th.
Well said. Well said. Bro, I mean, I know that we've spent a lot of time talking about this program with Hakeem here, but this is again also your first time on the Wrestling Junkies podcast. So, let's transition out of Coastal Empire Wrestling again. You're a multi-year vet. You've been in this game a long time. I mean, you've been all over the place. Tell us, so what are some of your favorite things that you're seeing on the indies right now? As far as movesets or any trends that you're noticing that are kind of moving the business forward that really excite you.
Over the last year or so, one of my favorite, I guess it's a trend, but one of my favorite things is that everyone's kind of stopped moving away from the wearing the all black gear and all that kind of stuff. I think it's really it's very beneficial whenever I see wrestlers in the locker room all wearing different colors and being more I don't know, having more pop to them. You know, like I really enjoy that. I like to see somebody let their personality out a little bit while they're in the ring. That's definitely something. Also, just there's so many new promotions popping up, especially here in Georgia. There's so many new promotions popping up, and new opportunities for younger guys to get spots and get those reps and get matches and get experience. That's another thing I'm really liking is that there's so many new promotions just popping up. People aren't so scared to try and run their shows. Like they're opening it up, and a lot of them are drawing really well. So those are a couple of things I'm really enjoying right now.
For sure. I mean, and like I said, we're seeing it at Coastal. I mean, the crowds are getting larger and larger by the month. I still don't understand this whole thing with Simon and Chip Schuyler and Randall Reno. And can you give us kind of a Cliff's Notes version of why they suck? Well,
I'll tell you why Simon Sermon sucks, because he hasn't been the same since I beat him. And I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say he sucks, because Simon Sermon is arguably one of the most well-recognized wrestlers in the state of Georgia, but they just have a weird way to go about things. I think it's the pastor, really. I think the pastor has gotten into everybody's heads over there. That guy's crazy, dude. Like he's just like a Joel Osteen cover band. That's what he is. That's what the pastor is. And he's just getting into people's heads, I think,
Yeah, no, it's we've definitely seen it. I mean, Mr. Reno, it's like there's a split personality there. It's like one day it's Randall, the next day you get Randy. It's the whole thing, but nonetheless, it's really going to be satisfying to see them get their asses handed to them. That's all.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait for you guys to watch this show when it comes out on YouTube, because after my match and they did the body bag match, I was sitting there. I was just like one of the fans in the crowd, just cheering. I loved every second of it.
I like it. I mean, the show's already happened, but we're curious just because they both were on the show over the last couple of weeks. Who trained harder, Shoop or Hunter?
I'm gonna let you watch the show, man. I'm not gonna spoil anything for you. Whenever you watch it, I want you to experience it the same way. I want you to experience it the exact same way that everybody else had to. I'm not no spoilers, man. I don't like spoilers.
Okay, that's okay. It's I just want a tiny one, just a tiny one. But no, Fro, greatly appreciate you coming on, joining me tonight. I know you don't do these very often, so we greatly appreciate it. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media? What other events do you have coming up outside of Coastal over the next couple of weeks?
I'll be Coastal on November 30th. I'm gonna be somewhere Saturday. I just don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
Okay. All right. I think I might have an idea.
And you can find me on social media at the Flying Fro on Instagram, the Flying Fro on X, Michael Walker on Facebook. Y'all go follow me, man. Keep up with me.
I like it. Greatly appreciate you coming on. We were able to get through this entire interview without Hakeem being a pain in either of our asses. So I'm gonna take that as a win.
I don't think he's they're very fond of talking while I'm around right this second. I don't think.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, he's always got something slick to say when the junkies come on. So okay.
Yeah,
you know what? Thought he had more fight in him than that, but what do I know?
But yeah, man, I appreciate you letting me come on and talk a little bit about it. November 30th, Coastal Empire Wrestling, Last Man Standing. Me and Hakeem Young, we're going to leave it all out there. Hakeem Young wants this title so bad, he's going to have to pry it from my cold, dead hands at this point.
I can't think of a better way to end it. Fro, thank you so much for joining me. Hope to have you on again soon.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you again to the Flying Fro, Michael Walker, for joining me tonight. You can keep up with him on X at the Flying Fro. You can also follow at CEW Savannah for all things Coastal Empire Wrestling, as well as Junkies Pod. We will be recording after the Empire, our official recap show, talking about Still Standing. Cannot wait to check out this show and see what aftermath there is to unfold. We do know one thing is for certain. Hakeem Young can't get the job done, and he will not get it done on November 30th. But that is going to do it for us tonight. Thank you. Well, for me anyway, since podcast that didn't show up for work. But follow us at Junkies Pod on X, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. But more importantly, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We need your help to get there. So if you could just tell one person, share our podcast with them. There will be no new episode tomorrow night. It's Halloween. We're going to take the night off, but we will be back on Monday. We will be talking about Crown Jewel. We'll be recapping SmackDown, AEW. So a bit of a supersized episode to kick off next week. But have fun, enjoy wrestling, and let's see. Oh, thank you, Nick. Appreciate the kind words, my friends. You can check out Nick's show on Friday, I believe, at 6 p.m. Eastern. I want to say we'll retweet that information on our X feed as well. But thank you to everybody that joined me tonight. We will be back next week in full force for the Absent Podcast. Dad and Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies Podcast. We'll see you guys next week.